In this video, we will cover how to upload a fully mapped general ledger into the tools and have the tools create all of our account mapping rules for us. So the first step is setting up our data. Similar to uploading a raw, unmapped GL, the data will need to be in a predictable order. And the order starts off the same way. First, you'll need your OSHPD or financial statement category. Then you'll need your account numbers and pieces in individual columns, followed by the associated account descriptions and balance. After that, it's not shown on this tool, but you will need to have your worksheet, line, and column mappings. Another thing to note is on the OSHPD reports, any accounts that you are going to map to 15 and 16, we recommend directly mapping these to 17 and 18 via this tool, and then later performing an expense reclassification to move the specific accounts over to 15 and 16. This keeps all of the worksheet line mappings a lot more cleaner and straightforward and uniform. So now let's take a look at your Excel data. So again, the data needs to be in the predictable order that a GL needs to be uploaded in, with your financial statement or OSHPD class, however many account pieces you have, followed by your account descriptions and your balance. So what's new here from uploading a raw unmapped GL is now that we have worksheet, line, and column mappings. So the first column will be your worksheet, followed by your line and column. If you are going to upload a line description, you need to make sure you also upload a column description. You also need to make sure that there are no blank fields so that all the data is a uniform number of columns. The line and column descriptions are optional, but if you have them, you need to have both sets or not have both sets. So you can also upload data that just has the raw line number and column with no descriptions. Either option will work. So what we'll want to do here is I have a fully mapped GL. Every single account is mapped to an OSHPD line and column. For the balance sheet, you will need to make sure you indicate that it's page 5 assets or page 5 liabilities and equities, because they are actually two distinct worksheets for both of these, and they have different names. So to show you what this tool will do, is I created a new data set and I did not copy over any prior year GL mappings. And I can review that under GL edit rules. So if we look at my balance sheet, there are no rules. And if I select any other categories, I'll see that all my rules are blank. So now I will want to select my full GL with all of the worksheet, line, and column mappings, copy the data, and upload it into the Upload GL tool. So here is my full GL with all of the account mappings. Next, we will need to indicate the account piece for each financial statement or OSHPD category that is driving the line mappings. So first, for balance sheet, is it my department or sub-account that is driving the line mappings? Well, if I review my Excel file, and if I look at my balance sheet, they all have the same department. So that cannot be dictating the different lines. So it must be driven off of my sub-account. My sub-account must be determining the different lines. By reviewing this further, I can look at another category like deductions. These deductions, I have a common department here, but I have it going to different lines. So again, the sub-account must be driving the deductions. My non-operating, looks like they're all going to one line, so it could be either or. Operating expenses, these are being driven by the department. Each department or accounting unit is driving the worksheet line. This is the same for patient revenues in this case. Each accounting unit is driving where the lines are going. As my accounting unit changed, so did the line. So now I'll go back to the tool, and I know my balance sheet is driven by sub-account. My deductions is driven by a sub-account. My other and non are driven by sub-accounts. And only my operating expenses and patient revenues are driven by departments. So once I've kind of defined what is driving my line, I will now select Upload General Ledger. This option will actually complete two processes. One, it will upload an unmapped GL into the dataset. Two, it will create all of my mapping rules based on what I have provided. Once the upload is complete, you will get a confirmation. You may also get some errors, and basically this is some data inconsistencies. So in this case, there was multiple mappings for department 708440 and 708460. So the tools did not know which one was correct. So if I review my file that I uploaded for department 708460, I can see that it was going to 2 lines. So the tools did not know if 130 or 125 was correct. By looking here, there's actually only a few accounts going to line 125. So these are actually the exception accounts. And I would probably want to set these up as an operating expense reclass, or I can show you how to set up exception rules. So likewise, for these other sub-account rules, there was more than one assignment and the tools did not know how to choose which one was correct. So now if I go to GL, Edit Rules, I'll see that the tools have populated all of my line assignments. Essentially, this sub-account range goes to line 5, this range goes to line 10, and etc. But if I look under my operating expense, I will not find 70, 84, 60 because the tools didn't know which line was correct. So I can go in here and manually add it, do a little override, and say, yeah, everything should have gone to 130, and then save the changes. The other alternative is if you want an account or department to go 2 different places, you can use these blue accounts at the top, which are called exception rules. So with an exception rule, you need to specify specific accounts. So I can say 70, 84, 60 between this account range goes to worksheet 18, line 130. And then I can say, this is just an example, that that department and that range goes to 125. You will also need to fill in the column. So for any exception rules, all of the fields need to be completed. You can't have partially filled in data. And so how exception rules work is these are applied before every other rule is applied to the GL. But we recommend not using exception rules because that makes the account mappings a little messy. So we prefer to leave everything purely mapped to one with a one-to-one relationship. And then using an operating expense reclass, you can move specific accounts to different lines. And also, that way there is an audit trail. Then once you've set up all your rules, you will go to GL, apply and export, apply your rules, and then once that's complete, you will export the data and make sure there are no holes in your mappings.